The Galactic Council's detention center on Station Kepler 442 was designed to hold the most dangerous criminals in 17 star systems. Its corridors were lined with reinforced durasteel, its cells protected by energy barriers that could contain a charging Bronthar. Yet none of its architects had ever considered what might happen if they imprisoned a human. Aliana stood in the center of the interrogation chamber, her wrists bound by quantum shackles that hummed with barely contained energy. Around her, 12 Velcoran guards formed a tight circle, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming under the harsh white lights. Each stood nearly 8 feet tall, their forearms ending in razor-sharp talons that had evolved over millennia to tear through the tough hides of their homeworld's apex predators. Commander Zekthor clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. The Deathworlder has nowhere to run. Aliana's brown eyes surveyed the room with an unsettling calm. Her auburn hair, pulled back in a simple ponytail, revealed a face that might have been called delicate by human standards. She was 5'6" and weighed perhaps 130 pounds, a fraction of the mass of her captors. "Where is James?" she asked, her voice steady. "Your companion is being processed," Zekthor replied. "He will face trial for trafficking in illegal technology, as will you." "James didn't traffic anything. He's an engineer. He was repairing your faulty life support systems. He accessed classified council databases. That is a capital offense." Aliana's jaw tightened. "Let me see him." "You are in no position to make demands, human." Zekthor gestured to his guards. "Take her to processing." The Velcorans moved inward, their talons extended. They had reviewed the data files on humans, of course, the mandatory briefings about the species from Sol 3, the warnings about their unusual endurance and problem-solving capabilities. But such things seemed academic when facing a creature so obviously fragile. The closest guard reached for Aliana's shoulder. What happened next took exactly 10 seconds. Aliana's head snapped backward, then rocketed forward, her forehead connecting with the guard's facial cluster with a sickening crack. The Velcoran staggered, green ichor streaming from his shattered sensory organs. Before he hit the ground, Aliana had already pivoted, her bound hands coming up to catch the second guard's descending talon. She twisted, using the creature's own momentum and the leverage of her entire body weight to send him crashing into 2 others. "Deathworlder physiology," she said calmly as if lecturing a classroom. "Bone density 3 times higher than the galactic average." Her leg swept out in a low arc, striking the knee joint of a 4th guard with surgical precision. The joint buckled. It had evolved to move forward and back, but not to resist lateral force. The Velcoran toppled, tendons and ligaments designed for persistence hunting. "We evolved to literally run our prey to death over distances that would kill most species." She rolled forward, her shoulder driving into another guard's midsection. The impact would have bruised a human badly, might have cracked ribs. Aliana grunted with pain but didn't slow. The guard's breath left him in a rush, and his neural cluster, located in his abdomen, a fact Aliana had memorized, registered the impact as a critical threat. He collapsed, gasping. Adrenaline response that temporarily overrides pain signals and increases strength by up to 40%. Zekthor was shouting now, screaming for reinforcements, but his voice seemed distant. 6 guards remained standing, and they rushed her simultaneously. It should have been enough. It would have been enough against any other species they'd encountered. Aliana dropped low, making herself small, letting 2 guards collide above her. She caught the leg of a 3rd, pulling hard. Her shackles limited her range of motion but not her determination. The guard went down and she was already moving, driving her elbow into the neural cluster of a 4th. Binocular vision with exceptional depth perception. We're ambush predators who learned to throw projectiles with lethal accuracy at 50 meters. She couldn't throw anything now, but the principle remained. She knew exactly where to strike, exactly how much force was needed, exactly which angles would exploit the weaknesses in Velcoran anatomy. 8 seconds had passed. The remaining guards hesitated, their battle-trained instincts suddenly warning them of something their rational minds refused to accept. This small creature, this fragile-looking being from a world they dismissed as primitive, was systematically dismantling them. Aliana's breathing was labored now, sweat beading on her forehead. Her shoulder throbbed where she'd used it as a battering ram. Her knuckles were split and bleeding, but her eyes held the ancient fire of Terra, the same determination that had driven her ancestors to cross oceans on wooden boats, to climb mountains because they were there, to reach for the stars because they could. 9 seconds. The last 2 guards charged together. Aliana waited until the final moment, then dropped and rolled between them. As they turned, confused, she brought her bound hands down on the back of the first one's neural cluster, then swept the legs from under the second. 10 seconds. 12. Velkarin guards lay on the floor, groaning or unconscious. Only Commander Zekthor remained standing, his weapon trembling in his primary hand. Aliana stood in the center of the chamber, chest heaving, blood dripping from her knuckles onto the polished floor. "Now," she said, her voice like iron wrapped in silk, "take me to James, and we're going to have a conversation about what actually happened." Zekthor stared at the carnage around him. In a decade of service, he'd never seen anything like this. The data files had warned about human capabilities, yes, but warnings were abstract. This was visceral reality. "Your species," he whispered, "survived on a Deathworld by becoming the apex predator." "No," Aliana corrected, taking a step forward. Zekthor stepped back. "We survived by becoming the persistence predator. We don't give up, we don't stop, and we protect our own." She held out her shackled wrists. "Now release me, and take me to my friend, before I decide that 10 seconds wasn't enough demonstration." Commander Zekthor's mandibles clicked nervously as he reached for the shackle controls. In that moment, he understood what the galaxy had been slow to realize. Humanity hadn't joined the Galactic Council as supplicants seeking protection. They'd arrived as the thing the universe should have feared all along,